Entrevista con Lol Tolhurst, 1 de diciembre de 2019. Lol, thank you very much for accepting this interview. Welcome to Guadalajara. How do you feel?
This morning, pretty good, yeah. I mean, we've been travelling all over everywhere for the past 3 years, so it's just one big blur at the moment. But it's been nice the last couple of months, so.
Qué bonito ha sido después de viajar por todos lados los últimos 3 años. Ha sido un poco de locura, pero sí ha sido bonito al mismo tiempo.
They told me that you don't like to wake up very early. We are the same.
Right, yeah, absolutely. People have their own internal clock, and after 60 years I've worked out what my internal clock is, and it's nothing before Rocco clock, which is 10 a.m.
Sí, claro que sí. La gente, cada una tiene su reloj interno y después de 60 años he entendido que mi momento para despertar es la hora de rock and roll, que son las 10 de la mañana.
Excellent. Well, let's talk about your book. You say that it's not your autobiography. It is. These are memories, but you are talking about a very special side of your life with the Cure, Robert Smith. And I would say this is an autography because you talk about your parents, you talk about your brothers and sisters, you talk about any other people. When did you decide you wanted to write down this side of the story, of your story?
As I just said, I'm 60 now, right? So about 10 years ago, I thought, there's a lot of stuff that people don't know about the story of the Cure. They don't know. There's only been one other book about the Cure at all in 40 years that has anything from us in it. So I really wanted to explain my life to myself, firstly. And I also wanted to explain things to everybody else, things that I thought would be helpful and useful, because also, being that I decided to write it, in middle age, I had a different viewpoint about a lot of events that happened, 20, 30 years ago. So I was clearer in my mind about what happened. I'll tell you a funny story. You might want to translate that first before I tell you.
Pues como acabo de decir, tengo 60 años, entonces hace 10 años más o menos dije, pues hay muchísimo que la gente no sabe y solamente ha habido un libro en los últimos 40 años acerca de The Cure. Entonces quería explicar mi vida a mí mismo y también a los demás y quería platicar de las cosas útiles que podrían aprender de mi vida los demás. Y ahora, teniendo 50, 60 años, tenía otra perspectiva acerca de mi propia vida. Y ahora quisiera platicarles una historia graciosa.
So, the funny story. Last year, or maybe 2 years ago even, I was in New York doing this with the book, and I went to an event in Long Island, I think, somewhere. And before I got to the event, it was a very big bookstore, and there had been another event at the bookstore, and there was all these teenage girls running out of the bookstore talking excitedly about the person that they had just seen, who was a 19-year-old YouTube personality. And when I got into the bookstore, I said to the manager of the store, so how was it? He said, well, he's written his autobiography. And I was like, I think I probably swore a little bit. Like, what can you write about at 19 about your experience of your life? You can't. So, that's why I left it until I was a lot older.
Pues el año pasado estuve en Nueva York haciendo exactamente lo que estamos haciendo aquí en entrevistas y fui a un evento en Long Island, a una librería muy grande, y antes de entrar vi que había muchas chicas adolescentes gritando y hablando de un joven de YouTube que estaba presentando su libro, que era su autobiografía acerca de su vida, y hablé con la persona en la librería y dije, ¿cómo es posible que escribes un libro acerca de tu vida cuando tienes 19 años? O sea, no se puede. Y luego pensé en mí mismo y dije, pues tengo 60, ahora es el momento para escribir este libro.
I mean, I can see writing about your life at 19 when you're 59 or 49, but not at 19. I mean, you're too close to everything. You know?
Sí, pues cuando uno tiene 19 años está tan cercano a todas las experiencias. Yo entiendo cómo una persona de 59 años o de 60 años puede escribir acerca de cómo era cuando tenía 19 años, pero en ese momento, pues, ¿cómo?
Well, we have our own times.
Yes.
Life show us when we have to do something, and I particularly would like to tell you that I consider you are very brave to accept your alcoholism.
Right.
That's beautiful, because you are showing to the people that it is possible to change in this world in which we have a lot of things that we don't cure for ourselves and our souls and our minds. Someone like you is an inspiration.
You're going to make me cry. Yeah, the whole thing about it is I for 6 months when I first knew I was going to write Cured, my agent would call me up every month and say, have you started? You know, is there something I can see? And I was putting him off because I realized that I would have to write about that, to be honest, if it was going to be worth anything. There's no point in just writing an advert for my life. You know, I needed to put everything in it. And it took me 6 months because I was terrified. I was very scared, you know, because not so much for me, but for my family and for my son and for everybody, my wife. And I just felt, okay, I talked to everybody about it, and they said, no, you have to write your truth. You have to write your truth. And once I started doing that, it was liberating, you know. I mean, you don't have to show like every war wound. You don't have to be, you know, like Jesus on the cross. But you have to be real. If you're not real, you know, I grew up in southwest London, and there's a lot of Jamaicans, right? A lot of Rastafarians, right? And they would always say to you, you know, if you were going to come and talk to somebody or say you have to come correct, right? And so that's what I thought about this. I thought, no, I have to come correct. I have to come with the truth. I can't, you know, I read a couple of autobiographies and by people that I quite admired, and then I wished that I hadn't, because I realized they'd left very large chunks of reality out of the story. So it was just a story, and it's a story maybe they told themselves that they want to tell everybody else, but I don't know, it just didn't seem real. So that was really the motivation there. The thing that's happened since that has been very humbling and flattering is that several places that actually have put my book on their list of reading for you know, rehabilitation places for people, for musicians and stuff. I've talked to them, and every event I go to, at least one person comes up to me and tells me something about that and says thank you. You know, so that's you know, if you're a creative artist, you should be. It's all about expanding and giving, right? It's not about destruction. So I had a lot of destruction in my life. I have to balance that with the creation. Sorry, excessive.
Hoy me va a hacer llorar con tus comentarios, muchas gracias. Pues sí, por 6 meses antes de que supe que iba a escribir este libro, tenía a mi agente llamándome cada mes diciendo, ya escribiste, y yo estaba postergando y postergando, porque yo sabía dentro de mí que tenía que ser honesto. O sea, no hay punto para escribir un libro así si no es honesto. Y yo tenía mucho miedo, de escribir la verdad. No por mí, pero por mi familia, por mi hijo, por mi esposa. Y luego hablé con todos y me dijeron, tienes que escribir tu historia. Y me liberó eso. No es que yo soy como Jesús en la cruz, o sea, no se trata de eso. Pero yo crecí en el sureste de Londres y ahí hay muchos jamaiquinos. Y ellos siempre dicen, hay que venir con lo correcto, hay que hacer lo correcto. Entonces, cuando yo estuve a punto de escribir este libro, dije, yo voy a llegar con la verdad. Y yo leí otras autobiografías de otros artistas y vi que faltaban partes enormes de la historia donde no estaban platicando acerca de la realidad. Y esas historias, en fin, realmente no son reales. Y eso me motivó mucho para decir la verdad acerca de mi rumbo, acerca de mi vida, y ahora siento increíblemente humilde. Y también lo que pasa en mis eventos es que alguien llega para decirme cada vez que el libro les ayuda a rehabilitarse. Y una persona cuando me llega y me diga eso, me llena porque les ayuda mi libro. Y ser un artista es expandir y dar, no destruir. Entonces me da mucho gusto que ayuda el libro a personas de esa manera.
Lol, did you realize how powerful the cure was in that time? In Mexico, you had a lot of fans.
Yeah.
I was a DJ in a radio station, and everybody wanted to hear the cure.
Yeah. Initially, of course not. You know, we were 19 years old. As I said, you know, what do you know at 19? You know, but yes. You know, I live in Los Angeles. I've lived there 25 years. You know, so it's the biggest Mexican population outside of Mexico, right? And so I know absolutely. And in fact, I told Robert about that a long time ago and said, you know, you have to come back here because that's what's going on. You know, what we spoke about and always spoke about was our life and also the process of being an outsider. You know, there's some alienation that goes with it that is not just relevant to the suburbs of South London, it's relevant to the suburbs of Buenos Aires, the suburbs of Guadalajara, you know. It's the same experience everywhere. And so that's why, you know, like I've been doing this for the last 3 years, going on talking about the book, and I meet people from 60 to 16, you know, that are connected to it in some way, which is wonderful. It blows my mind, but it's a cross-generational thing. You know, we write about things that are universal, and music's universal too. You know, it's not just the lyrical stuff. There's a lot of musical stuff that I know there's connections, and that fascinates me as well. But that's for another book. Yeah, that's it really. It's the fact that from people who started in a very kind of dismal, isolated place, we've managed to expand that out across the whole globe, which to me is the biggest gift I was ever given, you know.
Para empezar, pues no, tenía 19 años, entonces pues, ¿qué se entiende a esa edad? Y pues, pero claro que sí, entiendo todos los aficionados mexicanos. Yo tengo 25 años viviendo en Los Ángeles, sí entiendo que hay muchísimos aficionados ahí. Y le dije a Robert, hace años, tienes que regresar acá. Y de nuestra música lo que pasa es que siempre hablamos de nuestra vida, de cómo es ser un caso aparte. Y eso tiene que ver con las experiencias de muchísimas personas que también son casos apartes. Y yo tengo a gente de 16 años a 60 años que les toca mucho los temas que nosotros tocamos. Es intergeneracional. Escribimos de temas que tocan a todos. Y eso es un tema para otros libros. Pero de eso de poder conectar con gente que realmente son aislados y de tener esas experiencias y expandir en todo el mundo es lo que es el regalo más grande que la vida me ha dado.
Are you doing something with The Cure right now? Because the last album was in 2013, if I'm not wrong.
I don't remember. I think they're doing something. I'm not sure. I keep, the thing about the whole Cure is it's like your family. You always love them. Don't always keep in touch all the time. I talk to most people in the band. In the last year, I've talked to most people. Yeah.
Creo que por ahí están haciendo algo, realmente pues no me acuerdo muy bien. The Cure es como familia, los quieres muchísimo, pero a veces no les hablas muy seguido, pero yo creo que sí he hablado con unos de ellos en el último año.
And sometimes you love your family. Well, you always love them. Sometimes you like them, and sometimes you don't like them quite so much.
That's correct. Lol, what are you doing right now beside promoting your book?
Well, this is almost at the end of all the promotion for the book, because 3 years is quite a long time. I mean, I have some other translations coming out, so I might go to some other places like Hungary and stuff. But as soon as I get back, I have a new recording project to start with somebody else who was in a very big band in the 80s, but I'm not going to tell you who it is. Big secret. And we start actually 2 days after I get back from here, so I'm excited about that. But I'm going to do more writing as well, more books.
Estoy pues al final de la publicidad de este libro, ya han pasado 3 años, entonces he andado de pie a pa haciendo eso, pues tengo unas traducciones que van a salir, entonces quizá voy a estar en Hungría y otros países así, y pues 2 días después de que regrese tengo un proyecto, es con otra banda muy famoso de los 80s, no voy a decir quién es un secreto muy grande, pero estoy esperando eso con muchas ansias.
Are you going to
secret muy grande? Okay. Yeah. The thing about it is that coming here, which is a huge festival, it's a good point to put a period, full stop on the end of everything with this. But maybe a film next. I don't know, but we'll see.
Sí, pues llegar aquí después de todo a esta feria enorme es un buen punto para decir, ya, llegamos al tope. Entonces, quizá después de esto, una película.
Excellent. And with this band, the one you are going to,
yes.
You are going to play, you are going to compose. What are you going?
Yes.
At least let's.
Yes, both. Everything. Yeah.
Share that information, please.
Can't say anything else. No. The other, my partner in the whole thing, I have to ask them first before I say anything. Okay. That's what I'm going to say.
Okay. We will all be waiting.
Yeah.
I hope it is not too much time, but we have to wait. I don't.
Summer, maybe summer.
Okay, summer will be okay. If you would have to pick one song of The Cure, which one is your favorite?
No, I wouldn't. They're like my children. I can't pick a favorite. No, I don't. I never do that. I never pick a favorite. I have favorites for one day, but no, they're all my favorite.
No puedo. Son como mis hijos. ¿Cómo escoger a uno que es favorito? No tengo una canción favorita. Quizá como por un día. Es como, es mi canción favorita por un día. Pero no, nunca hago eso. No digo cuál es mi canción favorita.
Lol, now how is your relation with Robert Smith for instance, because you had a very important relation since you were kids.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to the whole thing about family. I mean, when we get together, any of the initial people in the Cure, myself, Robert, Simon, Paul Thompson, Michael Dempsey, when we get together, we don't sit and talk about music. We don't even talk about business. We talk about family, because I know all their families very well, very intimately, because we all grew up together. So when this March we did, we were inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in New York, Robert called me and said, "Are you going to go to this thing?" And I said, "Yeah, I am." And he said, "Why?" Because he couldn't really understand it. And I said, "Well, I have lived in America for a quarter of a century. I understand the people that we first played to that lived in the middle of the Midwest somewhere, and they were the only fans of The Cure, and it was very hard for them. They would love this. This would be like vindication for them." So I said, "We should go and do it." And I said, "Also, we're all getting older. When's going to be the next time we will all be together? You've got to think about that too." And then he said, "Well, okay, I'll think about it." And then Andy, who was in the band, died, passed away, and he called me up and said, "Yeah, we should go and do this." And so we went to do it. And somebody asked me on the radio, "Oh, who should you have induct you?" And I said, "Well, I think Trent Reznor would be good, as a person to speak on our behalf." And when he came out and did his speech, I was sitting there and I was looking at Robert, and Trent Reznor said, "I grew up in Pennsylvania looking out over hayfields, and The Cure came out of the speakers, and it gave me the impetus to do what I wanted to do. That saved my life." And I looked at Robert and I went, "Yes, he's saying what I told you people were saying, And so that was the last time I saw him. That was March, So, but, we have emails backwards and forwards and stuff. And, last year, Robert's father passed away, and I was close to his dad. His dad would always remember my birthday, like his whole life, because his birthday was one day after mine. So he would send me something to say happy birthday every year until the last couple of years when he was, I guess, sick. So.
Your birthday the same day that Buddy Holly died?
Yeah, very same day. And the same day that Richie Valens died, actually, if you think about it. Yes, right, yeah.
Pues se trata de la familia. Cuando nos vemos, cuando yo estoy con Roberto, con Simón, con Mike, no hablamos de música, ni hablamos de negocios, hablamos de la familia, porque todos nos criamos juntos. Y en marzo nos iban a dejar entrar al Salón de la Fama. Y Roberto me llamó y me dijo, ¿vas a hacerlo? Y yo dije, sí, lo voy a hacer. Y él dijo, ¿por qué? Y yo dije, yo he vivido un cuarto de siglo en este país. Y al principio solamente teníamos unos aficionados en los campos y les encantó nuestra música y era muy difícil venir a vernos, pero lo hicieron. Y luego dije, hay que hacerlo para esos aficionados. Y también dije, ¿cuándo vamos a encontrarnos juntos de nuevo? Y luego el año pasado murió Andy y me llamó Robert y me dijo, sí, lo hagamos, ¿no? Y luego me preguntó, ¿quién te va a dejar entrar quién te va a nombrar en el momento que subes al Salón de la Fama? Y me dijo, yo creo que Trent Reznor sería alguien genial para hacer eso. Y él hablaba de cuando estaba en su adolescencia en Pensilvania y estaba en los campos y luego escuchó The Cure en las bocinas y dijo que me dio el ímpetu para lograr en mi vida. Y yo dije, eso es la persona, él es el indicado. Y eso fue la última vez que nos vimos todos juntos en el marzo. O sea, claro que sí, tenemos correos, hablamos así, pero luego también murió el papá de Robert y Y es alguien que siempre se acordaba de mí, siempre se acordaba de mi cumpleaños, que él tiene el cumpleaños un día después del mío, y pues también Buddy Holiday, ¿no? Y también Richie Valens. Entonces, pues todo se trata de la familia.
Lol, I want to thank you very much for this time. I think you have shared your heart, your soul, your mind, and that has no price.
That's what we're here for, really, right? Because otherwise we're all just like isolated little things, yeah.
So we will be anxious to know what's going to happen the next summer.
I got some secrets. You know, my mother always, when I asked my mother her age when I was a little boy, she'd always say, "I'm 29 and a bit," and she would never tell me how the bit would get bigger and bigger. Obviously, you know, but I never found out how old she was until she died. So there you go.
Sí, pues siempre hay que tener secretos, ¿no? Hay que tener unos secretos, pero claro, de eso se trata todo eso, de hablar desde el alma, de hablar desde el corazón y compartir con todos. Y mi mamá siempre cuando la preguntaba, ¿cuántos años tienes, mami? Y siempre me decía, 29 y cacho, y cada año era un poquito más cacho, ¿no? 29 y cachito, 29 y cachote, y nunca averigüé cuántos años tenía hasta que murió.
By the way, you mentioned her in your book.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that was. You know what was funny about that was I didn't realise, you know, how old I was. You know, memory changes. You know, because I thought I was 21, I was 22. It's like kind of weird. Anyway.
Sí, pues las cosas cambian, ¿no? La memoria juega con uno. Pues yo siempre, en un momento siempre pensé que tenía 21 años, pero tenía 22. Entonces, pues así son las cosas.
Thank you very much, Lol. Would you please record something very little, like you are listening to The Sound of Music? Hi, I am Lol Tolhurst, and you're listening, please.
Hi, you're listening to The Sound of Music, and this is Lol Tolhurst.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good luck.